Donald Trump mad that nobody is covering his case down in New York because, you know, people are paying attention to the people who are flipping on him in Georgia, and people are paying attention to this Israeli sort of a bombardment of Gaza and the Hamas attack in Israel and the potential of a ground war and a larger regional conflict. And then, of course, in Washington, the failure of the Republican Party to be able to literally do anything. They have shut it all down. Here is Donald Trump, and you're not going to believe what Donald Trump is looking out at the region and saying, we've got a problem. Somebody should craft some type of deal that would take Iranian nukes off the table.
The deal is a rigged court, and I'll tell you, it's a disgrace for the state of New York. You want to maybe ask a question about Israel, I understand. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. President. Israel is not the money you said you were thinking of going. What are you going to do when you're there? Are you going to meet with Prime Minister Netanyahu? And what would you say to him regarding Gaza?
Well, the first thing I think you should do is let them figure out what's happening. They're fighting a war. And I hope it was helpful, but I think if you take your eye off the ball, they can't be worrying about me and fighting a war. They have to fight, and even having Biden over there right now, I don't think it's a very constructive thing. Because they're in the middle of a war. They're fighting a war. That's a war. And it should have never happened. It would have never happened with me. Iran's leading it, and it wouldn't have happened with me. And it didn't, by the way. It never did it? I was there a long time, 4 years. It didn't, and it never came close. That this happened is shocking. That they allowed this to happen is shocking. Iran would have never done that to me. And they were all set. They would have...
Pause it for 1 second. I just want to be clear on what Donald Trump is saying here, that this was an Iranian attack on... It wouldn't have happened if Donald Trump was president. He would have stopped Iran from doing this with Hamas somehow. Like, I mean, it's impressive.
Assassinate another general, maybe?
Well, it's just, but the idea, I mean, the idea that Donald Trump thinks this is Iran doing this to Joe Biden is also bat crap crazy.
He's running with that Wall Street Journal piece that has now, like, basically, which they rushed to publish after Hamas attacked those Israeli civilians, saying that Iran was in coordination. And now there have been subsequent reports saying intelligence doesn't seem to have any evidence of that, but the lie gets halfway around the world before the truth gets his pants on. And like what that article was there to do was to give a guy like Trump this talking point, and the rest of Republicans.
Great.
Never done that to me. And they were all set. They would have had a deal. Would have said 2 weeks from the election, I would have had a deal with Iran not to have a nuclear weapon. They would not have had a nuclear weapon. And that would have happened quickly. You would have never seen this happening. It's being led by Iran, and you would have never seen this happen.
Hold on. Pause it. I just want to make sure I heard what he said. Did he say 2 weeks after which election? After the 2020 election? Okay. Just so that you know, we did have a deal with Iran to not have a nuclear weapon. And there was a president who pulled us out of the deal. Let me see if I can come out. I'm going to Google while we hear Donald Trump talk about it.
From the election, I would have had a deal with Iran not to have a nuclear weapon. They would not have had a nuclear weapon. And that would have happened quickly. You would have never seen this happening. It's being led by Iran, and you would have never seen this happen. You wouldn't have seen Ukraine happen either. All right. You had something about the fact that...
All right. Now he's going back to the other question that he clearly had prepared for. I in a million years, I can't even understand what the hell he's saying here. Did he forget that he unilaterally pulled out of the Iran deal and completely scuttled it?
Yes. Well, not forget, but he believed probably the Boltons of the world telling him that the deal was a bad deal and that they were secretly in violation of it anyway, which, by the way, Netanyahu, remember when he had that PowerPoint presentation accusing Iran of that? he just buys into the conspiracy theory, right?
I can't even begin to imagine what's going on in his brain. But if he gets away with that, it's shocking.
I mean, I think he saw that it was a deal that Obama did, and he's like, get rid of that. We don't need that anymore.
Let's
anyway,
do it
someone should
again.
have thought of something to make these guys agree to not get a nuke.